Did you know that over 30% of seniors report feeling disrespected or ignored by their children? Imagine how this must feel, especially when you've spent a lifetime raising and nurturing them. If your children don't respect you, it's more common than you think, and it can lead to feelings of hurt and isolation. But here's the question: what can you do about it? As we get older, our relationships with our children can change, and sometimes that change comes with a sense of disrespect. Whether it's dismissing your opinions, not valuing your advice, or ignoring your needs, the loss of respect can be painful and frustrating. In today's video, I'm going to share 6 powerful ways to regain respect from your children, no matter how strained your relationship may feel. After watching this, you'll learn how to regain control of your dignity, rebuild your relationship, and ensure that you are treated with the respect you deserve. Don't skip any of these points. Each one is vital to improving your relationship with your children and reclaiming the respect that may have been lost. Set boundaries and communicate clearly. Setting boundaries and communicating clearly is one of the most effective ways to regain respect, especially with children. As we age, we may find that our children take us for granted or don't fully recognize our needs and limits. This can lead to a loss of respect, but setting firm, healthy boundaries helps to address this issue. Boundaries are essential for maintaining healthy relationships, as they allow both parties to understand each other's limits and needs. Establishing clear boundaries also creates an environment where mutual respect can thrive. The key is to communicate these boundaries assertively, not aggressively, while ensuring that your children understand your reasons behind them. Studies have shown that people who establish and maintain boundaries in relationships tend to have better mental health and more fulfilling interactions. According to the American Psychological Association, setting boundaries is linked to reduced stress and healthier relationships. This is particularly important for seniors, who may have been accustomed to giving in or putting others' needs first for much of their lives. It's crucial to assert your desires and needs to avoid feeling disrespected or neglected, and it will help foster respect from your children. For example, consider the story of Frank, a 73-year-old father who began to feel his children were not listening to him or respecting his decisions. Frank had always been the kind of parent who gave advice but rarely set clear limits or communicated his needs. After attending a family therapy session, Frank learned the importance of setting clear boundaries with his children. He began by telling them, for example, that he needed time alone on weekends, instead of having family gatherings every weekend. Initially, his children resisted, but over time, they began to understand and respect his need for personal space. As a result, Frank noticed a shift in their behavior. They started to respect his time more and even expressed more appreciation for his perspective. Frank's story shows how setting boundaries, even with loved ones, is necessary to maintain mutual respect. When we communicate our needs clearly, we help others understand where we stand and foster a healthier, more respectful relationship. Setting boundaries is not about rejecting or distancing yourself from family, but about creating a space where everyone's needs are respected. Leading by example is one of the most powerful ways to regain respect, especially when it comes to relationships with your children. When you model the behavior you wish to see from others, it encourages them to reciprocate that same behavior. If you want your children to respect you, it's important to demonstrate respect for them and others in your interactions. This includes being kind, patient, understanding, and practicing good communication skills. When you consistently model respectful behavior, it sets the standard and influences how others treat you in return. Scientific research supports the idea that leading by example fosters positive behavior in others. According to a study published in the Journal of Family Psychology, children are more likely to adopt respectful behaviors when they see them modeled by their parents. The study suggests that when parents set a positive example, children learn those values and often carry them into adulthood. This concept is not limited to children, it applies to all relationships. For seniors, leading by example in how we handle conflict, make decisions, and show empathy can encourage our children to respect us, even if there has been tension or disconnect in the past. For example, take the story of Dorothy, a 78-year-old woman who felt that her adult children were no longer listening to her advice. She became frustrated and began to withdraw from family interactions, but over time, she realized that her approach wasn't helping her situation. Dorothy decided to change how she communicated with her children, focusing more on listening to them, showing empathy, and maintaining a calm and respectful tone even when discussing disagreements. Her children started to notice the change and, over time, began to treat her with more respect, especially when they saw her treating them with patience and understanding. By modeling the respectful behavior she wanted to receive, Dorothy was able to rebuild the mutual respect in her relationship with her children. Dorothy's story highlights the impact of leading by example. When you demonstrate the kind of respect, kindness, and patience that you want from others, you create a foundation for healthier relationships. Over time, your children will learn from your actions and begin to reciprocate, leading to a more respectful and harmonious relationship. Have open and honest conversations. Having open and honest conversations with your children is essential for rebuilding respect, especially when that respect feels like it's fading. Communication is a powerful tool that can bridge gaps and clear up misunderstandings that may have developed over time. When you feel disrespected, it's important to express your feelings in a way that is both honest and non-confrontational. Telling your children how their behavior is affecting you is key to addressing the issue and potentially changing the dynamic. Scientific research shows that open communication within families helps reduce conflict and increases understanding, leading to stronger, more respectful relationships. According to the American Psychological Association, families that engage in clear and open discussions are more likely to have better relationships and emotional health. When you engage in honest conversations, it's important to avoid blame or criticism, which can put others on the defensive. Instead, focus on how you feel and use I statements like, "I feel hurt when," or "I would appreciate it if." This method of communication allows you to express your feelings while encouraging your children to listen and understand your perspective. It's also important to allow them space to share their thoughts and feelings, as their perspective might also be shaped by misunderstandings or frustrations. Take the example of James, a 72-year-old man who noticed a lack of respect from his adult children. They would often dismiss his opinions, interrupt him during conversations, or not involve him in family decisions. Instead of letting his frustration build up, James decided to have an open conversation with them. He calmly expressed how their behavior made him feel disrespected, explaining that he wanted to be heard and included in family matters. To his surprise, his children were not fully aware of the impact of their actions and were genuinely sorry. This conversation helped clear the air, and over time, James noticed a shift in how his children interacted with him. They started being more mindful of his opinions and involving him more in decisions. James' story is a powerful example of how open and honest communication can restore respect and strengthen relationships. By expressing feelings in a constructive way and being open to the perspectives of others, families can foster understanding and rebuild the trust and respect that may have been lost. Be assertive, not aggressive. Being assertive, rather than aggressive, is a crucial way to regain respect, particularly with your children. Assertiveness involves clearly communicating your needs, feelings, and boundaries in a way that is respectful to both yourself and others. It is different from aggression, which often involves disrespecting the other person's feelings and creating conflict. Assertiveness, when used correctly, helps foster healthy communication and encourages mutual respect in relationships. Research has shown that assertive communication leads to better outcomes in relationships, as it allows individuals to express their needs while maintaining respect for others. A study in the Journal of Applied Social Psychology found that people who communicate assertively are more likely to feel empowered and maintain positive relationships because their needs are being addressed without hostility or passivity. When you assert yourself, you let your children know that you value yourself and your feelings, which in turn teaches them to respect you more. Being passive, on the other hand, often leads to feelings of frustration and resentment and may contribute to further disrespect. Similarly, being aggressive in communication can push people away and create unnecessary tension. Studies from the American Psychological Association suggest that clear, assertive communication helps resolve conflicts more effectively and strengthens relationships by reducing misunderstandings. Consider the story of Linda, a 74-year-old woman who often felt disrespected by her adult children, especially when they disregarded her wishes. At first, she would silently accept things, not wanting to cause conflict. However, this only made her feel more disrespected and frustrated. After reading about the importance of assertiveness, Linda decided to change her approach. One day, she calmly told her children that she didn't appreciate being ignored during family discussions and that she wanted to have her voice heard, just like everyone else. Her tone was firm but respectful, and her children responded well, realizing they had unintentionally been disregarding her. Over time, Linda found that her children began to listen more attentively, and her relationship with them became much more respectful. Linda's experience underscores the power of assertiveness. By expressing her needs in a clear and respectful manner, she regained the respect she deserved and improved her relationships with her children. Assertiveness allows individuals to stand up for themselves while maintaining the dignity of both parties involved. It's a vital tool for rebuilding respect in any relationship, particularly with family members. Respect yourself and your own needs. Respecting yourself and your own needs is one of the most fundamental steps to regaining respect from others, especially your children. When you prioritize your own well-being and demonstrate self-respect, it sends a powerful message to those around you that you are worthy of respect. Many seniors, out of love or a desire to keep the peace, often neglect their own needs, but this can lead to feelings of resentment and ultimately contribute to being disrespected. Research has shown that self-respect is directly linked to healthier relationships and better mental health. A study published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that people with higher levels of self-respect are more likely to have positive interactions with others and experience less emotional distress. When you show that you value yourself, others are more likely to mirror that respect. Taking care of your physical, emotional, and mental needs is an essential part of respecting yourself. This could mean standing firm on your boundaries, saying no when something isn't in line with your values, or simply taking time for yourself to recharge. Prioritizing self-care helps you stay emotionally balanced, which in turn leads to healthier and more respectful relationships. For example, consider the story of Robert, a 79-year-old man who had always put his children's needs above his own. He never asked for help, never expressed his own desires, and often felt neglected when his children didn't show interest in his feelings. After some reflection, Robert realized that by always putting others first, he wasn't valuing his own needs. He began to speak up about what he wanted, whether it was more alone time or assistance with tasks. When Robert started advocating for himself, his children started to see him as someone who knew his own worth. Over time, they became more considerate, attentive, and respectful toward him, understanding that their father had needs too. Robert's story illustrates the importance of respecting yourself as a way to regain respect from others. By valuing your own needs and demonstrating that you expect respect, you set the standard for how others should treat you. When you neglect your own well-being, it's easy for others to overlook your needs as well. Learning to prioritize yourself doesn't mean being selfish. It means acknowledging your own worth and fostering healthier, more balanced relationships. Show love and compassion. Showing love and compassion is a powerful way to regain respect, especially when dealing with children who may have become distant or disrespectful. While it may seem counterintuitive, being loving and compassionate towards your children, even when you feel disrespected, can help break down emotional barriers and rebuild trust. Love and compassion are not about allowing disrespect, but about responding with kindness and understanding, which encourages positive behavior in return. Scientific research supports the idea that empathy and kindness foster stronger, more respectful relationships. A study from the Journal of Family Psychology found that when parents respond to children with empathy and warmth, it strengthens the bond between them and encourages mutual respect. Showing love in this way can soften hard feelings, create opportunities for constructive conversations, and re-establish a foundation of care and respect in the relationship. For older adults, particularly, this approach can help counteract the growing distance that might occur as roles within the family change. Sometimes, children may not fully appreciate the needs of aging parents or may feel overwhelmed by their own lives, which can lead to unintentional disrespect. Responding to this with love and understanding can shift the dynamic. Take, for instance, the story of Carol, a 70-year-old woman who felt increasingly disrespected by her grown children. They rarely listened to her, and she often felt ignored. Instead of withdrawing or confronting them harshly, Carol decided to take a different approach. She began calling her children to check in, offering support when they were going through tough times, and listening more actively when they spoke. Over time, her children began to open up more, and Carol noticed that they were more considerate and respectful in their interactions with her. They also began to express their appreciation for her presence in their lives. Carol's experience highlights the profound impact that love and compassion can have on relationships. When you respond with kindness, even in difficult moments, you set the tone for how you wish to be treated. Compassion doesn't mean tolerating disrespect, but rather approaching the situation with the intention of fostering understanding and respect. By showing love, you not only strengthen the relationship, but you also inspire those around you to treat you with the same consideration. Regaining respect from your children isn't something that happens overnight, but by setting boundaries, leading by example, being assertive, and showing love, you can rebuild that respect over time. Taking care of your emotional needs and seeking professional support when necessary can also play a huge role in fostering a healthy and respectful relationship. Are you ready to start setting boundaries and reclaiming your respect? Share this video with others who might be facing similar challenges. Let's create stronger, more respectful family relationships for ourselves and future generations. Respect begins with you. Stand up for yourself, and the respect will follow.